In the labyrinthine depths of Southend's subterranean world, a sinister legend whispered through the shadows. It was the tale of the Ratman, a grotesque creature said to dwell within the city's sprawling sewer system. Once a human, so the story went, the Ratman had been transformed by a curse or a chemical accident, his body contorting into a grotesque parody of its former self. His skin turned a sickly green, his eyes glowed an eerie red, and his teeth sharpened into razor-like fangs. As the legend grew, so too did the fear it instilled in the hearts of Southend's residents. People spoke of strange noises echoing from the sewers, of scurrying footsteps and guttural growls. Some claimed to have seen the Ratman's glowing eyes peering up from the manhole covers, watching them with malevolent intent. One fateful night, a group of teenagers dared to venture into the sewers, armed with flashlights and a morbid curiosity. They descended into the darkness, their voices echoing through the damp tunnels. As they explored, they noticed a faint, pungent odor that grew stronger with each step. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the silence. The teenagers turned in horror to see one of their friends being dragged into the shadows by a shadowy figure. They stumbled backward, their flashlights illuminating the Ratman's grotesque form. Its eyes burned with an unholy fire, and its teeth glistened in the dim light. The teenagers fled in terror, their screams echoing through the sewers. But the Ratman pursued them relentlessly, its claws scraping against the concrete walls. One by one, the teenagers fell victim to the Ratman's deadly embrace. Their bodies were found later, mutilated and discarded like discarded toys. The city was gripped by a wave of panic as the legend of the Ratman became a chilling reality. The authorities launched a massive manhunt, but the Ratman seemed to vanish into thin air. It became a phantom, a creature of the night that haunted the nightmares of Southend's residents. As the years passed, the legend of the Ratman faded into obscurity, becoming a mere footnote in the city's history. But even today, on the darkest nights, some say they can still hear the Ratman's guttural growls echoing from the depths of the sewers, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurk beneath the surface. One night, a young woman named Sarah was walking home from work when she heard a faint scratching sound coming from a nearby manhole cover. Curiosity got the better of her, and she cautiously approached. As she peered into the darkness, she saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring back at her. Fear surged through her as she realized she was face to face with the Ratman. The Ratman lunged forward, its claws extended. Sarah screamed and stumbled backward, but it was too late. The Ratman's claws sank into her flesh, and she felt a searing pain as it dragged her into the darkness. Sarah's screams echoed through the empty streets, but no one came to her aid. The Ratman had claimed another victim, and the legend of Southend's most sinister creature lived on. In the aftermath of Sarah's disappearance, the city was once again gripped by fear. The Ratman had returned, and it was more dangerous than ever. The authorities redoubled their efforts to find the creature, but it seemed to be immune to their traps and ambushes. As the days turned into weeks, the Ratman's reign of terror continued. It attacked people at random, leaving a trail of mutilated bodies in its wake. The city was on edge, and people were afraid to venture out after dark. One night, a group of armed vigilantes decided to take matters into their own hands. They tracked the Ratman to its lair in the sewers, armed with shotguns and machetes. The vigilantes descended into the darkness, their hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. They followed the Ratman's trail of blood and gore, until they finally came face to face with the creature in a vast underground chamber. The Ratman was even more grotesque than they had imagined. Its body was covered in matted fur, and its claws were as sharp as razors. Its eyes burned with an unholy fire, and its teeth were bared in a menacing snarl. The vigilantes opened fire, but the Ratman was too quick. It dodged their bullets and lunged at them with lightning speed. The vigilantes fought back desperately, but they were no match for the Ratman's superhuman strength and agility. One by one, the vigilantes fell, their bodies torn apart by the Ratman's claws. Only one man remained, his shotgun empty and his hope dwindling. As the Ratman approached, the man closed his eyes and waited for the end. But then, he heard a faint scratching sound coming from behind him. He opened his eyes and saw a small, white rat scurrying towards the Ratman. The rat jumped onto the Ratman's back and began to gnaw at its flesh. The Ratman roared in pain and tried to shake the rat off, but it was too late. The rat had already done its damage. The Ratman's body began to convulse, and its eyes glazed over. With a final, deafening roar, the Ratman collapsed to the ground, dead. The man watched in disbelief as the small white rat scurried away into the darkness. The legend of the Ratman of Southend had finally come to an end. The creature that had terrorized the city for so long was gone, defeated by an unlikely hero. But even though the Ratman was dead, its legacy lived on. The people of Southend never forgot the horrors they had endured, and the legend of the Ratman became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the most civilized of societies, darkness can lurk beneath the surface.